Hello, everyone. This is Dan McKee, now sitting in the governor's office, and we're back. And we're back to talk about small businesses. But I have really the pleasure today to introduce our new Lieutenant Governor, Sabina Matos. And before I bring her on, we'll have a little talk back and forth about our transition and the role that our new Lieutenant Governor is going to play. But very high interest in our small business community, and we'll continue to do that in the governor's office. So today we're very happy that we're going to have our people who are been involved over the last year with me as Lieutenant Governor, with Matt Weldon from DLT and Mark Haywood from the SBA, and along with Chris Parisi, who has been the champion of champions for our small business community with the coalition, and we'll give you updates on that. And then Secretary Pryor will join us as well. So why don't we bring on our Lieutenant Governor? Hey,
hello.
Lieutenant Governor, how are you?
Good, thank you, Governor. I'm so glad that I'm here with you in this my first live town hall. So thank you, Governor.
Yes, well, we've been doing this for months, and I know you have been following the work because we've been talking over the time frame when you were council president in Providence, and my office looks really good. You got that setting up pretty good down there.
What do you think?
I think it's going to be great. I think it's going to be just great. I think the people who are going to be working with us. We had our first joint press conference yesterday.
Yesterday, that's right, the first one. I think we did okay, right?
I think we did fine. I think that people want to hear from their leaders, and this is a way you can do it. And this forum, we've used this, and Ben Bob has been a host and a producer for the whole year on multiple different programs, including this virtual business town hall. It is a good way to connect in, and you're going to see as we go along. I mean, this is the first time we've had it now in about 7 weeks, 8 weeks. So it's been a couple of months. So it'll start gaining traction, and you're going to get a great deal of information, which you're really good at, as a former. So introduce a little bit to the people who are watching, your background and why you're interested in small businesses, and then we can start. Then you can start run the show like I did, and I'll come back later in the program when Chris Parisi comes on to talk about the coalition of small businesses and some of the things that we're working on right now.
Thank you, Governor. Thank you, Governor McKee. I'm so glad to have this opportunity to join you in this first town hall conversation with the small business community. So I want to introduce myself to the small business community that take part of this event every week. I'm new. Introduce myself as a first generation immigrant here in the United States. I have been in the United States since 1994. Came to New York City, stayed there only for a couple of months, then came to Rhode Island to my uncle's house in Olneyville. I started working and going to school eventually, graduated with a degree in communications from Rhode Island College. And I got elected to the Providence City Council in 2010. Since then, I have been doing a lot of work with the small businesses in the community of Providence. And I have seen firsthand some of the challenges that a small business have faced, but also have been working with great community partners to make sure that we bring resources to the small business community. Through my work in the City Council, I have worked with the Center for Women's Enterprise. We have been visiting small businesses, letting them know about the resources available. Governor McKee, when he was the Lieutenant Governor, joined me walking the neighborhoods and visiting some of the small businesses in the Olneyville area, Manton area, providing them with information and resources to help them be successful. So I'm glad to be here now in this new role, and I'm looking forward to working with all of you.
We've committed to be in all 39 cities and towns in your first 100 days. As you mentioned yesterday at the press event, we've been in 5 communities already, different types of communities, whether it's Providence or Jamestown, Wesley, Johnston, we've been in there as well. So we're going to continue to do that, Sabina, and it's so great to have you on, and I've been looking forward to continue this program going, and I know when we talked during the interview process, you've really made a strong commitment to small business, and I wanted to come on and make sure that people knew that. And so thank you so much for your leadership so far. It's been extraordinary in terms of the way that you've been able to get out with people and talk to them and put down some of the things that you really want to have happen. But I think more importantly for us as a team, right, is that we're going to show Rhode Island that a lieutenant governor and a governor could be strong partners. They, you know, on the political side, they can campaign together. On the government side, we can manage together. And we have the great opportunity right now to show the people of Rhode Island how a governor and lieutenant governor can manage together in the best interest of all 39 cities and towns and the communities that make up our communities.
I agree, Governor, and I want to thank you for your support and your partnership. And you have been willing to introduce me to the different leaders throughout the state, and also introducing me to other small businesses that I haven't had the opportunity to meet yet. I'm glad that we have this partnership. I'm going to continue to work together with you to show that the taxpayers and the residents of Rhode Island the benefits of having both offices working together. Thank you.
Yeah, and we're looking forward to you know, having you host this show weekly, and I'll get out of your way. You know, I'm going to get out of your way, and I'm going to enjoy watching in, and I believe that Mark Haywood will come on first. So Ben, just bring Mark on so that I can say hello to Mark, and then I can let the Lieutenant Governor do the work that she needs to do. Hi, Mark.
Good morning, good afternoon, Governor McKee. It's always a pleasure to see you. As I tell you all the time, I miss you at our establishment. So hopefully we'll see you soon.
Mark, I'm on day 50. I'm counting 100 days, and then I'm hopeful that we got everything going in a good direction, and I'll be able to join you over there on the first tee a couple times before the summer's over.
I hope so, because I'm looking forward to seeing both you and Matt out there.
Okay.
It's always a pleasure.
Okay.
And Lieutenant Governor Matos, just FYI, I'm a big protocol guy. So if I'm talking to you under the rules of protocol, I address you as governor. As you would address the Attorney General as general, I address you as governor, and we actually have a lot in common. So a little did you know, I'm actually a third generation. My grandmother was born in Ribera Grande, San Miguel. My mother, she came here to the United States. Actually, she came on the last boat that came into Providence, and born and raised in my mother and myself, born and raised in East Providence. But I served as a member of the city council and mayor of the city of East Providence from 1976 to 1982.
Oh.
So we have a little bit of commonality. I know what it's like to deal with difficult members of city councils. But I have in a leadership role here at the United States Small Business Administration here in Rhode Island since 1991. I served both the White House as well as Department of the Interior, as well as the Environmental Protection Agency from 1982 to 1991 in Washington, D.C., which was a great time. But right now, my role here, Governor, is basically helping small business community, and Governor McKee knows probably more than anybody, having been a small business owner, and he and I have had many chats about the need to support this community. When we look at, when SBA is looking at everything right now, we're about $1 billion in PPP round 2. The last number of loans that I saw, and I apologize because this was a number from Friday and not this week, was almost we're almost at that point of 10,000 loans and $1 billion for round 2. We know that we did 17,000 loans and 1.7, almost $2 billion in the first round. So that's all going well. Our economic injury disaster loan has now expanded, and it's the agency is going out to everybody who got $150,000, Governor, and we're saying, do you need more money? And that's going to be expanded up to $500,000. And Ben just put up the email address. If anybody is having any questions, any problems, any concerns as it relates to either PPP or to the EIDL loans, please send us an email. Having said that, Governor, we're beginning to run out of money in the PPP side. While the Congress authorized us through May the 31st, the last time that I checked, we were less than $50 billion with a run rate of about $11 to $12 billion weekly. So that is beginning to wane. I had a discussion this morning with our Rhode Island SBA lenders. They're not seeing an enormous amount of requests for the Paycheck Protection Program, but they are seeing some, and we're encouraging them, don't stop, continue, get your applications in, let's get it through the portal, and let's get it funded. But the other side of that, Governor, that I want to talk about is the Restaurant Revitalization Fund program. That's going to be coming out very soon, and we will be doing a series of seminars. It's a pure grant program, and we're going to be doing a series of seminars. We're doing one on our own this Thursday, but we're teaming up with all of the chambers of commerce, with the Rhode Island Hospitality Association, because basically this is a grant program and my biggest concern has always been, and Governor McKee will tell you, is restaurants and small retailers. We know that there are issues there. I had a long conversation with Lisa Ranglin from the Rhode Island Black Business Association. We did Mondays with Mark. We'd like to invite you at some point in time to do Mondays with Mark. But we had communities of color, women, and veterans will be the first three groups, restaurant groups, to go that will be approved. And we want people to be prepared to put their application in on day one. And the reason, Governor, why I say that is there are $26.8 billion, which is appropriated for this program. But it's a competitive program. So if John Smith, who is outside of the group that I talked about, veterans, women, or individuals who are economically or socially disadvantaged. So John Smith is none of those. If he puts his application in on day one, even though he cannot be considered by law until day 21, when day 22 comes, he's the first one to be looked at. So we're asking people to be prepared. They can get up to $10 million, $5 million for one establishment. And we want to do everything. I'm kind of like Charlie Brown and Lucy, where Lucy always says, all I want is my fair share. All I want is what's coming to me. We want the Rhode Island restaurant and business community to get their fair share. So, Governor, we're going to be doing a lot of programming over the next few weeks. And that's basically my report for this week is go to our website, send us an email, get on one of the sessions that we're going to do. We're going to do about 20 of them over the next 10 days. So make sure that you're Rhode Island restaurants now. Anybody who's it's NAICS code 72 is what we're looking at. Be prepared to put your application in as soon as possible. One final thing, Governor, is I know that there was a hiccup with the we call it SAVAG, because in government we always have to have an acronym for everything. But it's the Shuttered Venue Operators Grant. I did a press conference with Senator Reed over at PPAC with Lynn Singleton. There was a major issue as it relates to the website itself. That's still being worked on. We're a week into this. They're saying it could take another week to get all of the bugs out of it, but that will be coming down the line too. So for those individuals who are eligible for the Shuttered Venue Operators Grants, hang in there. That is coming as well. But it's great to see you. You and I have been in a couple of places together.
Yes,
I tell everybody I'm from the government and I'm here to help you. So anytime you need me, just pick up the phone.
Thank you, Mark. I actually have one quick question before we move on. The program that you were talking about earlier that is for MDEs and WBEs and for the veterans, do they have to be state certified businesses, or what is the requirement?
No, it's basically a self-certification, but the critical part of this, Governor, is that when the Congress wrote the legislation, they wanted to give those who, and they used the 8A program guidelines, those who are socially and economically disadvantaged. And just FYI, Under the rule, as being I'm Portuguese, I am eligible. It is because the way the rule is written is people of the Iberian Peninsula, which includes Spain, Portugal, all of the South American countries. Those are Hispanic, or it would be considered to be other Hispanic under the rule. Those individuals of African Americans. I'm also, by the way, Passamaquoddy Indian, so I kind of got it all over the place. But Native Americans and those individuals, you need to self-certify. But the most important thing is, remember, this is a grant program. And for those who are military, at some point in time, the agency can come back and say, listen, can we see your DD-214? So you please make sure, as we tell people all the time, to have all of the documentation that you need. And the good thing about this program, thank you for raising that, because you have, if they get a grant, Governor, they have until March of 2023 to spend the money.
Wow.
So the way it looks right now is whatever you had, let's say you had $1 million in net revenue in 2019, you had $500,000 in 2020, and then you had $100,000 of PPP loans. You subtract out the 2020 and the 2000 and the PPP loans, you're eligible for a $400,000 grant. So
that's really good, really good. Thank you so
Thanks,
much.
Governor.
So thank you so much, Mark. So we're gonna be, you guys already saw the information, the email. If you have any follow-up questions, where to reach us, okay?
Just send it to Rhode Island _DO at SBA.gov. Ben, are there any questions, do you know, for me?
There are, so yes, there are a couple questions, some of which are being answered by the Lieutenant Governor's staff in the comments, which is always great. Also, officially, hello, Lieutenant Governor.
Hi, Ben.
It's great that we met very briefly before the show.
Yes.
You're doing a wonderful job at this, and I can't wait to get to know you more.
Thank you.
We have a question mark about from Diane about the travel industry, especially with the do not travel guidance to over 100 countries. I know they were discussing travel agencies to be included in the Shutter Venue grant. Have you heard any news on this?
I have not. In fact, as of right now, I still do not believe that they are included in the Shuttered Venue grant. I know that we've had a lot of discussions with the travel industry because they also said, well, we're also part of the hospitality industry, and under PPP we should get 3.5x. And I understand, but you have to remember, Congress writes the laws. We basically follow whatever the law is, and the Congress did not write those provisions, Governor, into the law. So if they are a travel industry, they are eligible for 2.5x for PPP, but they're not either part of the Shuttered Venue, and they're certainly not part of the Restaurant Revitalization Fund. Sorry about that.
And I have one more question that I'm going to ask before we bring on Secretary Pryor. Can rideshare Uber Lyft drivers apply for PPP loans?
My understanding is that the Uber drivers are 1099s or sole props. If they are a 1099 and a sole proprietor, Ben, the answer is yes, they're eligible. And that's the one issue I think that's been raised on a number of occasions. Remember, the rules changed just slightly with 1099 sole props, where you would be using line 7, not line 31 of the Schedule C. So that's really what, and the banks are all aware of it, and they're working with people. So line 7, Schedule C's, we're good to go. Thank you, Governor.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you so much.
Mr. Secretary, it's good to see you.
Secretary,
good to see you, Mr. Hayward. Lieutenant Governor, such a pleasure.
Thank you, Secretary. I'm so glad to have this opportunity to join with you on this conversation. We want to hear what is the latest, what's the news, what's going on from the Commerce Department perspective.
Our pleasure. First of all, Lieutenant Governor, congratulations once again. Congratulations on inheriting this very important forum that all valued very, very much, and we all enjoy. And you're already doing a fantastic job, Lieutenant Governor.
Thank you. Thank you.
First, some economic stats, and then some information on our administration's new relief grants. So first, economic stats. We know that many small businesses continue to struggle. Many businesses across our economy continue to struggle here in Rhode Island, and for that matter, across the country. We can be proud of the momentum that we have been generating. However, that doesn't mean that problems don't exist. They do. But I want to share this. Moody's has been ranking the states as to our economic recovery, and they update weekly. Moody's, the rating agency. Moody's has Rhode Island currently at 92% restoration of our economy to pre-COVID levels, 92%. The US is only at 88%, so we're above the national average. That's the highest percentage in all of New England. So we've had the best back to work restoration of economic activity in New England in Rhode Island. Connecticut's right about at the national average. We're above it. They're a smidge above it right now. Massachusetts is way below it. US is at 88%. Massachusetts is at only 79% restoration. And New York is at 77% restoration, which is the worst in the country. Massachusetts is close to the worst, right at the bottom. So what I mean to say is Rhode Island has done well in restoring economic activity to where we were pre-COVID crisis. Now, having said that, many businesses continue to struggle, and this is not good enough. And there are disproportionate impacts upon the hospitality industry and many particular industries. And the second thing I want to say is we're not satisfied with going back to where we were pre-COVID, even though we had hit all-time records as to number of jobs and had seen substantial decreases in our unemployment rate. We want to be yet stronger coming out of this crisis once we truly regain our momentum. So please don't misinterpret what I'm expressing as being satisfied with where we're at. A long way to go, which is why we need measures like Governor McKee's relief grant program. So what this involves is that Rhode Island has recaptured some of the CARES Act money that was not utilized. That's under the first round of stimulus, funding that was not utilized and deployed. And we have allocated, for starters, $20 million into a small business relief grant program where $5,000 is available per business if a business meets certain limited criteria. That is to say, if the business's losses in 2020 were not made up for by grants that they received, and there's a $5,000 gap. In most instances, a $5,000 award can be made. We're pleased to report that we have, as of today, received almost $15 million in likely eligible applications. So, Lieutenant Governor, that's a very strong initial pipeline of applications.
Yes, thank you. That sounds like you guys are doing an amazing job right there at Commerce.
The entire administration team has been involved, but thank you. We're very grateful to our Commerce team members, especially Hannah Moore, our chief of staff, and a number of team members who've been working night and day, no exaggeration. We will close the program when we reach approximately $20 million in applications. That is to say, likely eligible applications from initial review. So two things about that. One, it's not too late. So if you're a business that has been considering applying, the criteria, to elaborate a bit, you must have less than $1 million in gross receipts in 2020, so smaller businesses. You must have $5,000 of need, as I defined. You have a distinction in gross receipts in 2020 that exceeds $5,000, and your grants didn't make up for it. There's a gap of $5,000 in some way. If you meet those criteria, please check out commerceri.com. That's our website, Lieutenant Governor, commerceri.com. It has all the information, and the application is right there, clickable, and you can get right into it. It's very straightforward. We've been getting all kinds of reports to that effect. I want to give credit not only to the Commerce team, but to Brave River Solutions, Brave River is a local tech
Local
company that
business,
created
yeah.
that app. A Rhode Island company created that app that I think is better than many of the national companies' works. We do have a back end that involves some support nationally, but Brave River Solutions created that app for us, and it's working beautifully. So it's not too late. And if you've gone online, if you're a small business, you've gone online and you do have a couple of questions or a lot of questions, please know that the Rhode Island Society of CPAs is available to you, the Center for Southeast Asians, the Rhode Island Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, the Rhode Island Black Business Association, and Rhodes Consulting and SCORE, a variety of organizations. You may be connected to them already, or you don't need to be. They can provide technical assistance to you. Go on to the commerceri.com website and you can learn how to get connected to them, or you can just apply. If you try it, it might be very straightforward in your opinion, and you might get through it quickly. 12 noon tomorrow, we will have Zoom office hours where a small business can plug in and just get answers on the spot via Zoom. Where to find out about that? commerceri.com as well. So, Lieutenant Governor, that's the one-stop site for all information on this program. And you can always call our helpline as well, which is helpfully displayed. That's the 521 helpline. Back to you, Lieutenant Governor.
Thank you, Secretary. I know Ben is busy making sure that all that information is added in there, right, Ben?
Ben does an amazing job.
Thank you, Secretary. I just have one question for you, and then I'll hand it back to the Lieutenant Governor. Will there be additional grant opportunities for small nonprofits through Commerce RI?
I believe that it is unlikely that this particular program, the Small Business Relief Program, which is designed for-profit small businesses, will open up to nonprofits because we've had such a strong response and we will likely be oversubscribed. However, as we look to future rounds of federal stimulus, the governor, lieutenant governor, and we will consider new programming.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ben. Thank you, Lieutenant Governor. Please.
Secretary, I have one more question. So you said there was 20 million for this program, and you were able to recuperate 30 million. What is going to happen with the other 10 million?
We may, in fact, allocate a small amount of that additional money to the overflow, meaning some of the additional eligible applicants, to ensure that we fund some additional small businesses. That's a determination that has yet to be made, but it is possible. In addition, Governor McKee and yourself and we are consulting on other programming, modest grant amounts that may be available for other purposes. So among the things we're considering, are there ventilation moves that small businesses want to make to ensure that they maintain and enhance healthy environments? Should we establish a small business grant program for that purpose? Should we, in some way, shape, or form, incentivize more foot traffic to businesses as we restore the economy? And we're thinking about different ways of going about that, whether it's marketing or some other measures. Stay tuned, those who are watching, as the governor, lieutenant governor, and we discuss those options. I'll note this also. We are very pleased that our vaccination pace has been so strong. We're nation leading among the top states in the country on vaccinations, as you know very well, Lieutenant Governor. Because of that terrific progress under Governor McKee and Dr. Alexander Scott and Tom McCarthy, we are looking at the possibility of announcing and enabling significant reopenings in the coming weeks. That is to say, we would make announcements in the near term set of weeks, and we would enable new reopenings in the very short period of time. So we want to accompany that with incentives and other supports for businesses that really help our small businesses get back on their feet.
Thank you. Thank you, Secretary Pryor, for all that information. Thank you for joining us today here for this information. Ben, is there any other question for Secretary Pryor?
No, not at the moment. Thank you, Secretary.
Thank you very much, Ben. Lieutenant Governor, really appreciate it. Director Weldon, good to see you, sir.
You as well, Mr. Secretary.
Thank you,
Governor, how are you?
Hi, Ned. So let me officially introduce the Acting Director of the Department of Labor and Training, Matthew Weldon. So I'll always call you Mad. So we have been working together for so long in other capacities. So I'm so glad to be able to work with you now in this role. So tell us, how are things going at the Department of Labor?
Well, first, you can call me Matt, and I will call you Governor. We'll create a new song based on that. And we've had a long working relationship, and that's great. And I look forward to continuing to serve with you. Things are going pretty well at DLT. You know, we've been busy, and we've been talking to everyone about that. The last year, or now I guess about 13 months, have been incredible. And I have to thank the hardworking staff here at DLT for helping us get through it. The sheer volume of claims that we've dealt with has been something that no one could ever have imagined. And I remember sitting here about 13 months ago thinking, this won't last that long. So we'll do everything we can and then get back on track. And we were in a pretty good space back then. And, you know, I was wrong. Here we are. We're still dealing with it. And just when we think we have a handle on things, everything changes again. And so one of the things that we've been dealing with lately is that because we're a year into the pandemic, the people's claims have started to expire. In fact, now on April 21st, we're pretty well beyond that, which is good. A month ago, it was pretty rough. And what I mean by that is this: if you have a regular unemployment claim, and it's even if it was COVID related, but it was not from the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance Program, or it's called PUA. If you had just a regular claim, those claims live for 1 year. And after 1 year, the switch effectively is turned off. Now, because we've done a lot with messaging, the certification system that you use to request a payment tells you when it's your last payment and that you need to file a new claim that week in order to get paid. Unfortunately, a lot of people didn't file a new claim right away because they thought it would automatically happen, or some people online told them, you don't have to, it'll be automatic, don't worry about it. And what we've been telling everyone is every claim is different, and you need to look at the message that you get because it's tailored to you and your issue. And so if you're told to refile a claim, go ahead and file that claim again. The good thing is many people now have done that, and every week we're working on all those new claims to get people right back into the payment status that they were in before. It is possible that it would take 2 weeks. If that's the case, we will pay both weeks at the same time when we catch you up. Right now, we're in much better place than we were a month or 6 weeks ago. Not that we couldn't handle it then, but the workload was much higher. And we're doing fairly well. We're seeing fewer claims come in, which is good. And we're seeing fewer people, a little bit, request a payment every week. And so last week, about 67,000 people still got paid. That's still a lot of people. In a state with 1 million people, that's a lot of people. And so one complaint or concern I hear a lot is, how come I can't call and get someone on the phone? And what I would say is, because of the volume and because of the number of calls we get every day, it can be difficult, but you need to try many, many times. Try late in the day, try on Saturday morning. The phone number is right in front of you at 401-415-6772. And one thing I'm trying to urge is call if you're not getting your payment, or if you need to file over the phone because you absolutely cannot do it online. Online is better. If it won't work for you, do it on the phone. If you have general questions, I urge you to go to our website at dlt.ri.gov and poke around because there's a lot of information available. Also, keep an eye on all of our social media accounts. Those are accounts that mostly have been verified at this point and will be if they haven't been yet. Keep an eye on those because we try to put out up-to-date messaging to let people know what they should be doing. Really look for DLT branded information. Because everyone's claim is different, it's hard to get advice from someone else. They're not in the same situation that you're in. So please look to us. We'll try to help. The federal programs, which are the extra $300 a week, the pandemic unemployment, which are claims that were developed for people that don't typically qualify for unemployment, and the federal extension of regular unemployment, were all extended to September 4th in Rhode Island. In most states in the country, it'll be on September 4th when they expire. If Congress picks that up again, then we'll work to continue those programs going forward. But for now, it will last until September 4th. If you were on a pandemic unemployment assistance claim, you did not need to refile the claim. We were able to adjust that on your behalf. I could spend an hour talking about why, but we don't have that kind of time. I would suggest people go online, go to our website, look for information, and we'll try to be helpful. A couple more things I want to point out. Workshare. We've talked about Workshare with this community quite a bit. Workshare is a program that allows you to dial down some of the work for some of your workers if you're a small business or any business, and they can get partial pay from you and be on a partial unemployment claim. The good thing about Workshare, other than the fact that it's a good way to keep in touch and keep a relationship with your existing staff that you know, you trust, you have trained and invested in, it also is being covered 100% by the federal government right now through September 4th. That means no charges to your account. That means they're picking up the entire tab, and Workshare payments also come with that extra bonus of $300. If anybody has any questions about Workshare, go to our website and you can find all the information that you need. Right now, we still have about 139 active Workshare plans. That means 139 companies are working with us on Workshare. It was over 225. Those companies have now hopefully gone back to work. In a typical month or year, it's about 12. And so you can see how busy we remain compared to other times in the past. And finally, I'll talk just for a second about unemployment fraud. We've talked about that quite a bit as well. The good news about the work that we've done is it's working. And over the last year, we have upgraded our system. We've introduced new technology. We've put new processes in place. We've trained staff to work on this new kind of fraud called imposter fraud. We have an 18-year experienced criminal prosecutor that I hired here at DLT, who's leading our fraud effort, who is advising our team on how to move forward and is our conduit to the law enforcement community that we work so closely with. The good thing is last week, all of our tools that we use to filter claims gave us a low number of claims that we should stop as suspected fraud, which means the things that we're doing are working, like multi-factor authentication. When you file a claim, it asks you if you want to be called or receive a text to verify who you are. This is not new technology, but this is government, and sometimes government has to catch up. We've done those things. I'm proud that in my short tenure in the leadership role here, we've made some significant changes, and I believe going forward, we're going to see even more to come. At this point, I'll just stop because I know I went on too long, and I'll take any questions.
I just want to say DLT has done a lot to improve technology in a short period of time. I remember when I first started working at the state, and I realized that most of the things that I thought we had already available, we actually didn't have, and how Excel becomes your best friend. I learned to love Excel. But thank you so much, Matt, for all that information. Director Weldon, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I just want to put another plug for the website, the DLT website. I always go into that website, and there's so many resources in there. I spend some time there using the website and discovering all the resources that we have available there. And also the Workshare program. This is just a great way to help you to get by until your business is full to capacity. Make sure you look into that option also. So thank you so much, Director. Ben, do we have any questions for the Director?
I have a couple questions. Director Weldon, always great to see you, Matt. So number one, I just received a claim for someone that does not work for our company. Should I just mail it back, or what do I do?
On something like that, it would be a big help to me if you wrote return to sender on the envelope and sent it back. If you've already opened it and you don't mind mailing it back, that would be great.
Let's see. I will get the information about a Lieutenant Governor email situation. I do not have that information at the moment. It's day 3 for the staff, so we'll get that info for you. But go to the call center, and like Matt said, call late in the day, call on Saturday mornings. Those are the best times to get through. But we will work on that. And then let's see. We had one more question. Sorry, it was in a different spot. Let's see. Are claims retroactive for those who never received PUA payment initially and are now working?
Okay, so I don't know exactly what's being asked. So what I'll say is this. The federal government puts tight controls on how far back we can dial a claim back to. If you filed a claim after December 27th of 2020, I can only go back as far as December 6th. I cannot go back to last summer or last spring. no, under any circumstance. The federal government won't allow it. And if I were to do that, those charges would be denied by the federal government. So we can't do that at all. If you want to file now, I can go back until December 6th.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you. Thanks, Governor.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you. Great seeing you. All right. So next we have Chris Parisi. He's the founder of the Rhode Island Small Business Coalition, and Chris has been doing a great work. He was working with the current governor, Governor McKee, for a long time, making sure that we are providing the resources that the small business community need, and making sure that we're listening to what the small business are telling us about they need. So with that, I want to hear from Chris how things are going, Chris.
Thank you, Lieutenant Governor. Welcome aboard. You've been doing a great job so far. I don't know, Governor. She's been doing almost, I might say, maybe better than your first time. I don't know. I don't want to say it.
I think, like I already said, Sabina's got a lot of experience that I really relying on. So she's been doing great. I just been listening in. I get to actually welcome her on a call with all the former lieutenant governors this afternoon.
Yes.
Well, I've reached out to me before, all the time I was lieutenant governor and beyond. So, but Chris, yeah, I just wanted to come on basically just to say, as on this handoff to Sabina, you're in really good hands, Chris, and your work is extraordinary. And we not only during the pandemic, but as we get out of the pandemic, and we're going to have some very positive news on Thursday in terms of how we're accelerating this vaccination percentage that's going to allow us to get, very much open. We're shooting for a Memorial Day that is, very strong now instead of the 4th of July. So we've moved this up about a month because of the great work that is happening on the vaccination. So use this forum to get more and more people vaccinated. That's really what we want to do. Use this forum for, as you used, as in the past, to organize a small business is in a real strong way. And I just want to thank you for that publicly, Chris. That's why I wanted to come on, and I'll get out of the way and I'll come back after your interview. But I just want to let you know, nice handoff here between the lieutenant governor and myself and you. And you know that one of the things is everybody who has my phone number still has my phone number. I'm not going anywhere. Actually, we're just having a meeting how we can actually make our office a little more accessible than it has been in the past as well. So a lot of work to do, but nothing more important than right now for reopening our economy than our small businesses. And I still believe that to be true. So take it away, Sabina. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Governor.
And I'll listen in. Ben, you get rid of me.
All right, we're gonna listen from Chris now. Chris, you're getting into trouble. You're telling the governor that I'm doing better. You can do that.
Well, I got to say, the governor he's a very humble,
Yes.
great leader. And I want to thank the governor as well. You were a lifeline for the small businesses when you started these town halls over a year ago. You gave us a voice and a direct line to our great government leaders that we really never had before. I can't believe, Ben, it's been a year that we've been doing these live town halls with the likes of Mark Hayward, Matt Weldon, Liz Tanner, Secretary Pryor, and we wouldn't be where we're at without you, Governor. So thank you and congratulations to you, Lieutenant Governor. The small business community looks forward to working with you, fighting for the heart of our economy. So if you don't mind, I'm going to share some insights on a few issues and a few industries from the most recent meetings the Rhode Island Small Business Coalition had with our members. Again, we're a nonprofit advocacy group fighting for our small businesses, giving them a voice and connecting them with their government leaders. And one thing that we were able to be a part of is the Small Business Relief Grant Program. So hats off to the team at Commerce for administering a successful program. From Secretary Pryor, including us in the process from the start, and the great staff that he has working with him, especially Hannah Moore. So we were clear, the coalition was clear with what we envisioned with this program, making it simple, equal, and really focusing on the small businesses that are really struggling to pay essential bills like rent. And this program did just that. And you just heard from Secretary Pryor how it was successful. And make sure you apply today, this very moment. Go to commerceri.com/relief grant. And if you did not apply yet, it's still open. So take advantage before it closes out, before the 20 million or so money runs out. We heard positive feedback. Great job. So the second issue I want to talk about is the hiring issue. So this was heavily discussed, and it's really a hiring crisis. It's been incredibly difficult across multiple industries hiring workers. Business is finally picking up. Small businesses scraping by to make ends meet, and now they can't even hire the help in order to operate their business. It's especially hard for the smaller businesses, like the smaller restaurants. They can't afford quite the tactics that larger groups are able to do to attract workers. And obviously, you know, that's because, you know, people want to stay at home with the children, stay at home with the elderly, fear of COVID in the workplace, but it's also that federal bonus of $300 per week. So we're looking forward to working with the General Assembly, working with yourself and the governor and the administration and other small business organizations to come together and figure out a solution swiftly so that we can solve this hiring crisis. So that was a really hot topic I wanted to share, and obviously a minimum wage is another one. But let's focus on a few industries. One of them is agriculture and fisheries. So not only do these industries produce jobs, right? More than 15,000 from agriculture and plant-based industries alone, and they're a big part of the ocean state's economy, contributing $2.5 billion annually. It's also at the center of our food security issue in Rhode Island. You know, Governor Matos, I know you're aware 1 in every 4 Rhode Islander lacks adequate food. And these are the small businesses, this industry that can really support and have a big impact on that. So we need to support these small businesses, listen to them, and we need to bring them into the fold to ensure that we hear how, you know, things like minimum wage, the climate bill, and other issues affect their livelihood. So I wanted to highlight them, as well as the wedding and event industry. These folks were hit one of the hardest during the pandemic. And even though the calendar turned, you know, they're still struggling, as RI is one of the strictest states when it comes to weddings in New England. And I preface that with Secretary Pryor and the governor just mentioned, you know, they're looking to release and reduce the restrictions, which is great news and music to the ears of these industries. You know, the problem is the timing of everything, right? So when you have New Hampshire lifting their mask mandates, when you have Connecticut lifting all restrictions except masks in May, we're having, let's say, couples leave and cancel their weddings in Rhode Island to do it in our neighboring states. And we don't want to have at that, obviously. So we're looking forward to the recent and soon to become announcements, and hopefully the wedding and event industry is part of that discussion. So then there's just a few other ones like the travel industry, the State Department imposing further restrictions on international travel. So we got to figure out how to help them. You heard Director Hayward talk about how, you know, they weren't able to be included according to, you know, Washington. They weren't included in some of these programs. So how can we help them out, and how can we do other things? Just like, hey, if we're outdoors and you have a fitness center, do we really need to be wearing masks outdoors, right, when we're working out? So those are some of the issues that the Rhode Island Small Business Coalition has been hurting. Really positive when it comes to the grant program, and really positive when it comes to the vaccination efforts led by Governor McKee. #1 in the country, right, for vaccinating over, was it 70 years old, fully vaccinated. So, I mean, that vaccination and open up the economy, those are the things that are really going to help our small businesses, the backbone of our economy. So thank you, Lieutenant Governor. That's all I have for today.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you. And so good that you're mentioning the vaccination, because we do have vaccines appointments available. We got to remind that to everyone that is watching right now. We are fortunate, thanks to the leadership of the governor with his team, Tony Silva, making sure that we prioritize the vaccination we're at a stage right now in which we have vaccines appointments available at different sites. So make sure that you sign up, make sure that you get your employees to sign up for a vaccine. Okay? So with that, I just want to turn it back to the governor. So tell us how we did in this first one, Governor McKee.
Yes, so thank you, Lieutenant Governor Matos. I love that, Matos. You're doing a great job. And wasn't that great listening to Chris Parisi and hearing about the small business?
It was really good. Yeah.
They are organized, they're ready to go, and we just got to respond. But thank you for reminding people, get vaccinated. The numbers in this week are going to be extraordinary. We received extra doses. I think because the state of Rhode Island is doing such a great job, as you mentioned with Tony Silver and Tom McCarthy and Reamer and the General Callahan and others, and along with Dr. Alexander Scott. So we're the state that is ready, and I think that we will be aggressively moving to reopen our economy, reopen our schools, because we got all our teachers vaccinated and all the childcare workers vaccinated. So we're in a position to be, as I've been pointing out, incrementally flexible. Create this incremental flexibility. Move it so safety is a key, but we do not want to move backwards like Michigan is right now doing. We don't want to move backwards anyway. So if from a small, because I own a small business, I own a small business. And a number of people who are making these decisions have never run a small business. So they don't understand how critical 2 weeks is or 1 week is. So that's why we got to keep on doing this now I think that aggressive incremental flexibility. But with you at the helm here at the Lieutenant Governor's office, we're going to really work together as I started off the program. So thank you and congratulations to completing your first call like this. Thousands of people are going to look in on this program, and they're going to know that you are a great supporter of the people of all 39 cities and towns. So thank you for doing this, Sabina.
Thank you, Governor. Thank you for your leadership on starting this communication, direct communication with our small business community. I want to thank all of you for joining us today. This information for small business information session, I think it was successful for the first one that I'm doing. I'm looking forward to getting your feedback and your questions. Please make sure you contact us. Ben is going to be getting access to the emails, and he's going to provide that for our next one next week. With that, I once again want to thank Governor McKee for joining us today and for his vision and his leadership. With that, Ben, it's all yours.
All right, thank you very much. And yeah, we're gonna have the emails and the phone number and stuff. So thank you, wonderful job, and it was wonderful to meet you. And that's it for today. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Ben. Bye. Thanks.
Bye.